How did you get here? Raise your hand, how many of you drove here? Right? Most of you. Think about how you got in that car, you took down the road, and you searched for a free parking spot. This is a process that you experience every day, everywhere you go. Now, I want you to think of the environment you pass through while driving. Generally, you don't notice it as much, right? Well, one thing you'll notice throughout all these trips, if you look, is the ugly scenery. Wide, beat-up roads without sidewalks, fields of parking, and giant highways cutting up the community. These places aren't meant to be appealing, and they're not places you want to stay. In other words, they're pass-through places. And what you'll notice nowadays is that everywhere is being built like this pass-through place. Now, truth be told, there's a lot wrong with our cities, but bringing it down to a driving issue, our cities aren't built for us. They're built for something that a lot of us look over, the car. We as a society kneel to the car. We see it as a symbol of America, the key to freedom. But here's the damaging truth. The dependency we have on our car is the exact thing that restricts us. Think about it. What can you do without it? Can you go to the store? Can you go out with friends? Probably not. I can assume this because over 90% of trips in America are made by the car. Now, if you can, you are the lucky 10%. When I was younger, I was not a part of this lucky minority. Instead, I had to rely on others to take me everywhere. At that time, and for most of my life, I didn't have the freedom I have now, and one of the only things I wanted to do was to get out of the house. Being stuck at home felt solitary and depressing. And that's something that people all around the continent face every day. Over 5.2 million of them are depressed or hopeless. And like many, I attempted to go out on my own, out to the 40-mile-an-hour roads without sidewalks. And I learned that it could be one of the last decisions I ever made. When I was only 8 years old, I experienced something that no kid or family should ever have to experience. I was struck by a car just outside of my own home, and I almost became one of the 40,000 people who died of traffic fatalities every year. I was sick of being stuck inside, but when I tried to leave, I had nowhere to go. No safe place to walk to, no safe community place to stay, and no safe way to get there. And this is from a kid's perspective. I can only imagine how stranded someone who's disabled or someone who just can't afford to own a car feels. And from that point, I started to acknowledge the overwhelming presence of cars. I noticed that I didn't have the freedom of going to the store or going out with friends. Instead, I was stuck between home and school with nothing in between. And according to Hopkins Medicine, it's one of the leading reasons we have such high rates of obesity and depression in this country. It wasn't always this way, though. Over the last 100 years, our cities have become unrecognizable. Here's a photo of downtown Houston in 1930. And here's a photo of the same place just 30 years later. Major difference, right? From cycling in trams in 1930 to the mass growth of cars, we bulldozed our cities to build wide roads, parking lots, and highways, all in favor of the car. We did this all around the country, spending over $3 trillion on highways alone, and we spent over $60 billion every year just to maintain those highways. And here's the thing. Cars don't give back to the communities that they reside in. The cities that spend hundreds of millions of dollars just to make them viable, all because of a simple truth. Cars don't buy things, people do. Now I'm going to shower you with information, and I need you to bear with me for just a minute. Return on investment is vital to every city. Revenue generated from areas like these pass-through places is insufficient to cover the long-term maintenance costs of the infrastructure that supports it. The bigger infrastructure needed to support cars, like these parking lots, these wide roads, and these highways, leads to greater space inefficiencies and subsequently reduced return on investment. So, when we compare annual tax revenue per acre between mixed use and suburban development, we can see that big box stores, urban malls, and suburban development makes up 49% of the average city's tax revenue, whereas 51% is made up by mixed use, despite it only making up 2 to 3% of the average American city. And cities are just now beginning to understand this discrepancy after thousands of studies. But the reason it's been so narrowly addressed, the reason it's been ignored, because of massive corporations like Ford and Chevy. These companies flooded millions of dollars into advertisements, all in favor of expanding car infrastructure and hiding all of the detriments of it. And the biggest thing that they engraved into society was that those who took public transportation were of a lower class. And this is something still seen today, and it divides us. Because of that, people stopped taking public transportation. And then we reduced our funding of such. People don't want to take it anymore because we reduced our funding of such. And the thing is, it'll never be enough. There will never be enough lanes on a highway, and there will never be enough parking lots. This is because of a concept known as induced demand. This is a concept that explains when supply is increased, like lanes on a highway, more of a good is consumed, like people taking said expanded highway because it's now faster. So, if you had unlimited space to expand a highway, no matter how wide you make it, there will always be more traffic because of the new commuters taking the new, faster route. So, a perfect example of this can be the Katy Freeway in Austin, Texas, which boasts an insane 22 lanes. Think of how hard that would be to traverse. You want to go to the right side of the lane, to the left side of the lane. And according to Texas A&M Transportation Institute, it's also one of the most congested in the country, despite its jaw-dropping width. And what's more, they're adding 2 more lanes by 2026, because that'll fix the traffic, as we've seen. So what can we do about it? We've gone so far into this car dependency that it might seem hopeless or even pointless, but there is an answer, and it's remarkably simple. The answer is viable alternatives to driving. This means transit like bikes, buses, trams, and trains. Transit that takes people where they want to go. If we were to spend just a fraction of what we spend on car infrastructure each year towards transit, we can decrease the amount of people on the road, decrease the amount of traffic, halting those who do want to drive, and decrease the amount of taxes that you would have to pay to support this infrastructure. Because we need to give people the choice to live freely without a car, the choice to live safely without a car, the choice to thrive their own way. When you leave here today, I want you to ask yourself, is this a place I want to live? And if you decide that you don't like what you see, go to your local city council, go to community hearings, and advocate for what you do want to see. Safe, walkable, and effective cities. Remember, cities are for people, not cars. Thank you.